I think the scar I'm most proud of is the nerve graft scars on my shoulder.
Okay.
Just because it was such a huge operation and it took so long to get back riding and stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself for getting through it.
Is that one there?
Yeah, I've got a couple, like 2 big scars, one at the back and one at the front. They took a nerve out of my leg and then like put it in the front and back of my shoulder. And it worked really well. I was surprised. Like I had no deltoid muscle at all, and now it's like pretty much good, and it's like 60% of like normal. So it's still not awesome, but it's better than it was.
Yeah. And what does it feel like when you ride? Are you like?
I get a lot of problems with it still. You know, I have to. It's weaker than the other shoulder, so I really have to kind of keep up with the treatment and like keep working on it in the gym and stuff. It definitely suffers a bit, but. Yeah, well, I've had keyhole. I think I've had 2 or 3 keyholes on it in the past, just from normal dislocations. And then when I did the nerve damage, they had to go in and open it up. I've got photos of the shoulder pulled apart with the clamps and the nerve like in the scissors, and yeah, it's pretty graphic.
Nice.
But I also had a similar operation on this side. I've had keyhole on this side a couple of times, and then I had a bone graft where they took the end of a bone and put it in the front of the joint, so it's kind of like a stop to stop it dislocating. And I mean, like, touch wood, it's worked so far.
Where did they get the bone from? Did they take that from?
Well, there's a little bone in your shoulder called the coracoid process, where the like bicep tendon attaches onto. So they just cut the end of that off, and relocated the tendon, and then used the end of that bone.
And what does the back of that one look like?
The back of this one's all right. It's just a little keyhole. But this one's this is my party scar that I get out when I'm Halloween. I always like put a bit of lipstick on the scars, put a bit of lipstick on there and really highlight them. And people say, you look like you've had your arms sewn back on, and I say I have. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky really, apart from my shoulders. I've broke my wrist a couple of times, and I had actually a surgery on that at the end of last season, so that was probably the latest one. Just a few little incisions to clean out the joint because it was a bit like messed up and full of scar tissue, so I missed the Christmas ride for that. I was pretty gutted. I broke my little finger. That was really painful. That was probably the worst thing.
Oh, right, okay.
Just smashed it, and that was like 2 days before the first World Cup of the season one year, so I had to race with my finger broken, and I used kitchen sponge and put the sponge around the end of my handlebar, and the brake was like, it was shattered, so it kind of just bent round the handlebar, so it kind of, after a few days of riding, it was bent to fit the bar, so it was all right. I won as well, which is a bit of a surprise. So injury is always sort of like a build-up. You know, you never just jump straight back on your downhill bike. You start on the static bike in the gym, and where I used to live, I had like an injury route that I would ride, and I knew if I could ride that route, then I could. It was like up a road and down a fire road, so I knew if I could ride that, then I could ride cross country, and like so it progresses. So you know, I remember one World Cup I crashed and I dislocated my shoulder, and I was in floods of tears, and they said, oh, is the pain really bad? And I was like, no, but like my whole year is like ruined now, and that's the hardest thing. You know, you feel like you've just thrown years of work down the drain, but you know, it definitely gives you like a bit of motivation, and it's part of the job. It's inevitable, so it's just you've got to deal with it, and that's you know, that's what's got to happen. I had a year out and 3 surgeries on this shoulder before I could race again, and you know, that feeling of getting back on your downhill bike when you've been out for a year, it's incredible. You feel amazing. It's like you've just been born again. It's incredible. So.